idea when Anne asked me to come what a huge Massachusetts contingent. I know what a frigid state in more ways than one you all have to work with, and we were all so encouraged by, I know you just had your talk about the question too, but at national and at pro-life movement as a whole, by your all's victory to defeat assisted suicide was like the one thing that we could all be grateful and hopeful for after this election. So thank you for all of your hard work in the state. So I may have, as I said, underestimated your size, but I did just bring, if you'd like, I'll pass around stickers for today, 40 years too many. There's going to be tons of things being handed out to you today, but I'll just pass them over. So anyway, I am representing for you all today National Right to Life, the National Federation of 50 state Right to Life affiliates, of which Massachusetts Citizens for Life is one. And our power here in DC, lobbying Congress, and working for the defenseless of human life, the unborn and the elderly and the disabled, only comes from the strength of our state chapters, when you say affiliates like Mass Citizens, and the chapters like you and those that are calling in. So whenever you get a caller from National Right to Life asking you to call your congressman, those really do make a difference even in difficult states, because the volume of calls received, they do pay attention. So thank you for always listening to us. All right, so I'm here to talk about youth programs, but to just give us a little bit of perspective, I wanted to start with considering a headline that came over the New York Times. Supreme Court settles abortion issue. And when did that headline come out? The day after Roe v. Wade was handed down in 1973. Well, clearly, as we look around us today, at this March for Life with hundreds of thousands of people, the abortion issue is the most unsettled issue in American politics. So hopefully that can give us a little hope. The heartfelt dedication of you all and pro-lifers just like you all across the country has made it that the New York Times headline was certainly not prophetic. It was just dead wrong. Our movement is growing as we're changing hearts and minds, as you all know, through many things to the growth of the advent of ultrasound technology that's made more and more people understand and to see the reality of the child in the womb. The genuine compassion of our pregnancy care center, the network that's just sprung up spontaneously all across the country, true, genuine, heartfelt compassion for mothers is really the biggest testament to the truth of the pro-life cause. And then, again, the way that we have not allowed the abortion issue to become deadened in American politics. Instead, it is very alive and vibrant. We're keeping it in the front page. And then, as we all know, as we see here today, our movement is growing with young people. More and more young people are pro-life. To give us a little data, Gallup can show us this. In 2010, they themselves in their report noted that while all age groups are becoming more pro-life, it's particularly with young people that are becoming more attached to the pro-life label in significant increases. And in 2012, they noted the same thing, that my age group, the 18 to 34-year-olds, has a 7% decrease with identifying with pro-choice. Pro-lifers are gaining, and the pro-choice people of my generation are not as comfortable with that position any longer. But of course, then we just all have the anecdotal evidence that this is true. Just the other night, there was a huge gathering at a bar in DuPont Circle of lots of pro-life young professionals, well over 100, gathering to affirm that Roe v. Wade has been around for 40 years too long. And then, I mean, you all see it, you don't need me to tell you, but then last night at the National Shrine, overflowing with high school students and college students there for a mass to defend the unborn. Now, the pro-abortion advocates recognize this trend for the threat to their existence that it is. I'm sure you've all heard that when the former president of NARAL, Nancy Keenan, was announcing her retirement, she specifically pointed out that there was an intensity gap over the abortion issue with young people, and her side was losing. We had stronger intensity working for our cause. She's jokingly referred to her movement as the post-menopausal militia. And at a recent March for Life, when she got off the train at Union Station, DC, she saw these crowds of young people and remarked, "There are so many of them and they are so young." Now, we see that today, and it certainly gives us a different feeling than it gives her, as she was at least trying to lead a movement to affirm that abortion was a fundamental right for women. So while we know the numbers on our side, what we know is that there's a critical bridge that has to be built between being pro-life and coming to this March for Life, which is a beautiful and wonderful testament, and also living that in our daily lives and really changing our world. So there's lots of programs that work to develop and give our youth the tools to be able to go out and change the world, and National Right to Life has a couple that I wanted to talk to you about today. So the first are our pro-life youth camps. It's called, it now has a fancy name called the Life and Leadership Youth Camp Initiative, but it started with just one really awesome lady named Julie Little in Wisconsin who loved camp and loved pro-life, and so she decided to create a Wisconsin Teens for Life summer camp where kids, spend the night, hang out, do campfires, have water balloon fights, capture the flag, but also really learn how to communicate their pro-life message in a way that can connect to their peers. So she started this camp. It was a huge success, built for years in Wisconsin, and then it spread to numerous other states, New York, Louisiana, North Dakota, I'm going to forget which other ones, but after this sort of true grassroots movement developed of pro-life youth camps being a great way to educate young people, then National Right to Life came together with the states that had been leading the camp initiative to create a Camp in a Box program, which is what this Life and Leadership Youth Camp Initiative is, so that if a state wants to develop their own youth camp, we don't all have to reinvent the wheel. And you can get funding through this program if you apply, and you can get support of here's how you do the steps, and here's how you can create a really great youth camp. And again, the kids that are coming to a pro-life camp are obviously, like yourselves, already pro-life and certainly very convicted, but this is just giving more, inspiration of all your other peers that are with you on this issue, and then just sort of the apologetics and tools so that you can share this message in a way that somebody who may not already understand it. The pro-life camp curriculum covers the abortion issue, but it also touches on assisted suicide, euthanasia, these growing threats that we certainly as the pro-life movement need to be fully equipped to defend. And most of us grow up, or not most, but those of us that are lucky to grow up pro-life know about how to talk about the baby, but it's certainly harder to talk about somebody who's deemed to have a poor quality of life. We need the education to be prepared to defend those people. So that's camp, and the Camp in a Box program is really great. This last summer, with some other friends, we in Virginia were able to run our first Camp Joshua, Virginia, following the tools of the Life and Leadership Camp Initiative. We had 60 young people, and it was one of the most rewarding experiences I've ever been a part of, particularly after I confirmed that we didn't actually lose any of our kids. They just were playing a really good game of sardines, and so after all that, I was thankful. But the kids, again, came away just, I know what I want to do. They started pro-life groups in their high schools, and just very empowered. So that is one of the ways that National Right to Life is helping to create this bridge so that we can all be better advocates. And the other is, as I was introduced to talk about, the National Right to Life Academy, which Matt Hannafin, I don't know if he's here, but he was a stellar and a standout graduate in more ways than one. Last summer we had 9 women and 1 man, which was Matt. Yeah, he was great. But so the academy is for college students, and what it is a 5-week summer training program that's very equivalent to an intensive college course, because what we do is survey the right to life issues from covering everything, the sort of the philosophy, the policy, and just digging deeper into not just how to do the sound bites, but what is underlying all these issues, what's our data, and what's the evidence. And it's taught by some really great staff at National Right to Life, and students who come in during the program, they have to do mock lobbying, mock interviews, in front of the camera, watch themselves, see how they can perfect their messaging, with the idea that we may not all grow up to be lobbyists, but how can we better communicate? So the Academy is a really terrific program, and our students who have participated in the Academy are working in numerous ways to advance the pro-life cause today, each individual. One is our legislative director for Texas Right to Life, another affiliate here, and he's helping to, Texas Right to Life's #1 priority right now is the Pain-Capable Unborn Child Protection Act, which is the National Right to Life model bill to protect the child at 20 weeks fetal age when they can feel pain. And so he's leading the way there. We have Matt, who's working in Massachusetts with all of you. We have a graduate who's a seminarian, and he's leading his group of young, soon-to-be priests to the March for Life. He coordinates that trip. Others that are teachers in the public school system, social workers, nurses. So a variety of ways that, like us, they're all working differently, but they have been equipped with this knowledge to be better prepared to spread the pro-life message. So I actually also will leave with you all some flyers. If anyone here is piqued by this program, specifically at the Academy, we're recruiting our students right now. So I'll leave these in the back if anyone wants to grab one, because it's a great way. You're here in DC, you stay at National Right to Life with some of our really awesome staff. You get a very thorough training. So finally, I just wanted to share, we know that the tide is changing, but we all certainly know that it's been 40 years too long. And we certainly hope that 40 years from now we won't have to be here. But I'm inspired and like to reflect on a speech given by Father Richard John Newhouse to the National Right to Life Convention shortly before he passed away, called "We Shall Not Weary, We Shall Not Rest." And in it he said, and I think he's speaking to all of us here, to be recruited to the cause of the culture of life is to be recruited for the duration, and there is no end in sight except the eyes of faith. Perhaps you too can specify such a moment when you knew you were recruited. At that moment, you could have said, yes, it's terrible that in this country alone, nearly 4,000 innocent children are killed every day. But then, so many terrible things are happening in the world. Am I my infant brother's keeper? Am I my infant sister's keeper? You could have said that, but you didn't. You could have said, yes, the nation that I love is betraying its founding principles, that every human being is endowed by God with inalienable rights, including, and most fundamentally, the right to life. But you could have said, the Supreme Court has spoken, and its word is law of the land. What can I do about it? You could have said that, but you didn't. That horror, that betrayal would not let you go. You knew there and then that you were recruited to contend for the culture of life, and that you were recruited for the duration. So that speaks to all of us, and then all of our young people will just ensure that we will be around for the duration. So thanks for your time, thanks for being here. Have a great March.